Hello everyone, this is Dave from Dave's Recent Things. I am sure by now we have all been online shopping for deco mesh, wreath attachments, ribbons, etc., and we've all come across wreath kits. Today we're going to take a look at a wreath kit supplied to me by Unique in the Creek. Lori, I just want to say hello. Thank you so much for sending me this wreath kit. I'm going to open this up today. We're going to go through how I made the wreath using her wreath board as well. If you don't know Unique in the Creek and Lori, she is a fellow Canadian artist, a fellow Canadian creator, a fellow Canadian entrepreneur as well, and the inventor of the wreath board. We're going to be using the wreath board, we're going to be using a wreath kit, and we're going to go through the whole process of making a wreath using a wreath kit from Unique in the Creek. Why don't I just get started and I'll show you what I made. Here is the wreath kit I was talking about previously. It's called It's Good to Be Home. Here is the wreath kit number and everything. And of course, I'm going to unbox or open up this wreath kit. I'm just going to open it up, and the first thing I pull out is this greenery floral pick, which is beautiful. I love the color there. 1.5-inch wired ribbon in black and white stripes, some black and white checkered stripe 1.5-inch ribbon, and black and white polka dot 1.5-inch ribbon. All of the ribbon was wired ribbon. This is the It's Good to Be Home sign with a nice little picture of a house. It's a wooden sign with some twine to hang. 10-inch by 10-yard poly deco mesh, black and white checkered, and as well a little package of cable ties. These are in gray, it's a 100 pack. And as well, they gave me a little package here. Here's a little QR code for their channel. They gave us some pipe cleaners, measuring tape, which I thought was really cool, and some cable mounts as well. I'm going to be using their oval wreath board. It's a nice sturdy board. This does not come with the kit, so you can choose whatever you want. As well, Lori gave me this measure buddy, so we're going to play around with that. If you don't have the measure buddy, you can use your ruler as well. First thing I'm going to do is I have my cutting mat all laid out, and our magic number today is 18. So we are going to cut our deco mesh at 18 inches today. And I'm going to be using a wood burning tool. Now this helps with the fraying. So this reduces the fraying a lot of our deco mesh. A little warning, always have your hand on that plastic part. That tip of the wood burner, especially that little disc, gets hot. Please use caution. Also, if you're using your cutting mat, get yourself one of these clear, this is just a cutting board so you can see right through. Do not cut right on your cutting mat because you will burn and ruin your cutting mat. So I have my cutting mat down. On top of that, I have my glass cutter, and then I am going to use my wood burner, line it up at the 18-inch length mark, and then I'm just going to slowly come down using that wood burning tool. Once it's done, I place it in its little handle there, and you can see it does seal the edges of that deco mesh, so you don't really have the fraying. And I know a lot of people don't like the fraying, so this is one way you can really reduce that fraying. I will say this, number one, it's hot, so be careful. Number two, open up your windows. So I'm cutting 20 pieces of this deco mesh at 18 inches, and that's going to use up almost the entire roll of our deco mesh. And here is our little measure buddy. So each side, there's a number 1 side and a number 2 side. All you do is you pull out one side, and then this whole length, you see the number 14 there? That's going to be 14-inch long. So that's going to be 14-inch long ribbon cuts. If you need longer, you can pull out the other end, and it's 20 inches, 19 inches, 18 inches, etc. And then what you do is you can just move that edge piece down to the number you want. Today, I'm going to be cutting my pieces at 14 inches. All you do is you line up one edge and then you wrap that ribbon all the way around. And of course, you just wrap it around until you get as many pieces as you want. I'm going to be using 10 pieces of each ribbon. So I have 3 different kinds of ribbon, so I'm cutting out 3 3 times 10, 30 pieces of that ribbon. I had to do quick math in my head. All you have to do is just tap your little measure buddy down, release the ribbon, and then you just cut right on that fold that we created as we were wrapping it around. And then once that's all done, all 10 pieces of our ribbon are cut in an instant. Just love it. If you don't have the measure buddy, like I said, you can always use the ruler. And I'm going to be doing this for all 3 of my ribbons. So ribbon number 1, ribbon number 2, ribbon number 3. I'm cutting out 10 pieces cut at that 14-inch mark. So a total of the ribbon used today is 42 inches to decorate our bundles. Once I've got all my ribbon cut, I am just going to dovetail them. All you have to do to dovetail is fold it in half, and I make sure the folded edge is on the right hand side, the open on the left. Take your scissors, and then you just cut on an angle. This has a little pattern that you can just follow that pattern, and boom, there you go. You have your beautiful dovetail. You can do more than one at a time. You can do 1 at a time, 2 at a time, whatever you want, but I finished both ends of all of that ribbon. Here is that oval wreath board, and I'm going to be using the circles on the outside and then on the inside. And what you see I'm doing here is I am doing the middle one right at the top, skipping one, circling another. This is where I'm going to put my bundles. Then I'm going to come on the inside and going to do the same thing, but I'm going to use the middle circle in between the 2 ones we're going to use and the inside one. Again, we're circling one, skipping one, circling one, skipping one. This helps us to identify where our bundles are going to go. And then I'm going to cut my greenery here. I'm cutting them once and then I'm cutting them in half so I can get a little bit more greenery to spread around our wreath. I'm going to put that all to the side, and then we're going to start on our bundles. For each bundle, I'm using 1 piece of the deco mesh, 1 cable tie, and I'm going to use 1 piece of ribbon each, so total of 3 ribbon. I'm going to have my little clothespin just to the side, and as well 1 little piece of greenery. I'm going to be doing the ruffle method today, and I like to do the ruffle method with the curl side facing down. Now, if you didn't use a wood burning tool and you want to hide your edges a little bit, you can just fold it under right at the beginning, press that down, put your thumbs right in the middle, hold them down, and then let the rest of your fingers do the walking. Like I've said many times before, let the fingers do the walking, that old Yellow Pages ad. Then we find our middle, and there is our little ruffle created. It's like a big bow tie. I'm going to use my clothespin just to hold it all together, set it aside for a second, and now I'm going to take that cable tie and I'm going to place it in right at the top there. Those 2 other holes, those are to hang the wreath if you're using it, if you need to use that for your hanger. All I'm going to do is I'm going to add that cable tie in there. I'm going to keep it open, place my ruffle bundle with the deco mesh just right there for now, and then I'm going to overlap the 3 pieces of my ribbon. I'm going to fold it over, finding my center. Once I find that center, then I'm just going to gather all of that ribbon together, turn it into a V, hold it there for a little bit to bend. Then I'm going to take that paper clip off, add the ribbon on there, hold it and make sure I still have the center, and then I'm going to add my greenery on there, and I'm going to partially close up my cable tie. I'm not going to pull it tight already. I want to make sure everything's nice and even. My deco mesh is off a little bit, so I'm going to pull a little bit there to make sure it's even, make sure everything's centered till I'm happy with that. Once I'm happy with it, I'm going to pull it really tight now, and then I'm just going to take that excess off, and we've got our first bundle all ready to go. Here I am just cutting off that excess cable tie, kind of making sure everything's going the way I want it to go, fluff it up a little bit. I'm happy with that, and now I'm going to move on to the next one. Our next available one, again, don't forget we're skipping one, and then we're going to go to another one. All I'm doing here is I'm making that ruffle bundle and attaching it into the cable tie. My pattern is going to be 1 with ribbon, 1 without, 1 with ribbon, 1 without. So right now I just added my ruffle bundle without any of the ribbon. And then I'm going to continue that pattern and the same method of procedure for creating our bundles, gathering everything in the center with that deco mesh, adding that clothespin on there, placing it where I want it to go, overlapping the ribbon, folding it over a little bit just to find the center, gathering it together, bending it into a V shape, take that clothespin off, add our ribbon. We're going to find that center again, make sure it's nice and secure, add that greenery, and then we're going to add the cable tie nice and tight. But before we tighten it, I want to make sure we fluff it up just a little bit and make sure everything's even on there. And then we are going to really pull that cable tie nice and tight and cut off the excess. So like I said, I'm going to continue with this pattern, using the ribbon, not using the ribbon, using the ribbon, not using the ribbon on the outside circles all the way around. Here we go. Our outside is all done. Now I'm going to move on to the inside. And here's where circling your circles. So here I am. I'm just adding in that cable tie right now. And then we've got our ruffle made. I'm going to add the ribbons to the ruffle and the greenery, and I'm just going to work on the inside now, just adding that cable tie on there. Fluffing it up, making sure it's beautiful. Then we cut it off, and I move on to my next. Again, following the same pattern on the inside as we did on the outside. One ribbon, one without ribbon, one with ribbon, one without ribbon. And once we are all done with that inner circle, here is our wreath. We need to fluff it up a little bit, but the base wreath, everything's attached on there, and I'm loving how this looks so far. Now we're going to create a little bow, and I'm going to use all 3 of my ribbons. So we have 3 different patterns here, and I'm just going to whip up a really quick, nice and easy bow. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to mark out at the 12 inches, gather it together with my left thumb and index finger, and then I'm going to make sure that the good sides all face up. I'm going to mark out the 12 inches or measure out to 12 inches, gather it together, and then loop that around, bringing it back to my left hand. I'm going to do the same thing, but I'm going to make sure with each pass that that ribbon, good side, is facing up. So again, we're measuring out that 12 inches, pinching it together, bringing it back, making sure that good side faces up, measure another 12 inches. So I'm going to do 3 sets of loops here. We started off with a tail, 3 loops, and then I'm going to measure out 12 inches, and then I'm going to cut it at the 12-inch mark with my scissors. Those are going to be our second tails. Grab that half pipe cleaner, twist it around a little bit, right at the center, make sure you have everything, and now you can start kind of taking apart that ribbon and really see how that's coming to life. This second segment I'm going to do a little bit smaller, so I'm measuring out 8 inches for the tails, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to measure out 9 inches here. You can see I'm making sure that the good side is facing up. One of them was facing down, but we got it fixed now, so I'm going to measure out 9 inches, pinch it, bring it to the center, creating 1 loop. I'm going to measure out 9 inches, creating a second loop, and then I'm going to do tails. So for this segment, I'm going to do 2 tails, 2 loops with all 3 of those ribbons. Then we grab that pipe cleaner right at the center, twisting it around a couple times, making sure it's nice and tight, and then we can just fluff it up a little bit, spreading out those 3 ribbons per loop. And look how beautiful this looks already. I am loving these. Once we have our 2 segments all done, I'm going to dovetail all of those tails. Just a nice finishing touch. You don't have to do this. I just like doing dovetails to finish everything off. And now I'm going to place the second segment right on top of the first one with those pipe cleaners headed towards the back. Wrap them around. Then you just twist it around a couple of times. And of course, you know what's going to happen next on my channel, right? Fluffing of the bow. That always has to happen. I love it. I'm obsessed with it. I'm OCD'd over it, whatever you want to call it. And I know there's some fellow fluffers out there as well, but here is our bow ready for our wreath. Here's the home sign. These are the cable mounts I was mentioning a little bit earlier. They are great. All you have to do is attach it to your sign, and then you can feed your pipe cleaner right through there such that you can attach it to the wreath. Now I'm just going to take off the stickers off of the back. I'm going to take off that jute rope because I'm not going to use either of those. And then with our cable mounts, there's a little sticky part on the back. I'm just going to peel that off because I'm going to use my hot glue to glue these onto the wooden back of the sign. So I'm just placing some hot glue down, placing those right into the hot glue. Then what you can do is you can feed your pipe cleaners through the holes, twist them a couple of times, and boom, your wreath attachments are all ready for your wreath. A convenient and easy way to do it. Conventionally, you can do your oval wreath the way I showed previously. Today I'm going to do something a little bit different. I'm going to put it on its side. I was playing around with the sign placement and I decided, you know what, I'm going to do something a little different. Let's put it on its side with the bow on the right. Typically, if you want to do the oval, facing up and down, you can do that if you want. I just decided to do it on the side. So here I am just attaching it through the holes right at the back. I'm going to make sure it's nice and even how I want it. I pick it up a couple of times. I need to retighten it a little bit, so I do that. And then once I'm happy with the placement, I'm going to come in and cut off the excess of those pipe cleaners with my scissors. And I'm going to attach my bow the exact same way. You just feed the pipe cleaner through the hole at the back, attach it on there, make sure it's nice and secure and the way you want it. And then of course, I'm just going to add a little bit more of that greenery. I had some left over, so I'm just going to add that where the bow is. It just breaks up the black and white a little bit with the greenery. So it's not so black and white. You've got that greenery in there, breaks up the black and white a little bit. And of course, I love how the black and white background just pops for that house. For a hanger, I'm going to use 2 cable ties, and I'm going to make sure I have the top, and then I'm just going to use one of the holes, feed that cable tie right through, and then I'm going to make it sure it clicks a couple of times, and I'm not going to tighten it just yet because I'm going to take my second cable tie, feed it through the first one we just did, and then I'm going to use a little bit of strength, making sure it clicks a couple times, but not forcing it closed. Now I'm going to go back to the first one, and then I'm going to pull that tight, cut off the excess there, and you can see we created a little loop for our hanging. And I'm going to cut that excess off as well. And here we go. Now we can hang our little wreath on the side, and we can use a hook. We can use a door wreath hanger if you want, but there is our hanger right at the back. And our finished product, we have fluffed everything, we've added everything, glued everything. I'm in love with the deco mesh. I love the black and white ribbons and the different patterns with the greenery in there, our big beautiful bow, and of course our "It's Good to Be Home" sign. And again, I love how this all came together, how that sign pops against the black and white, and of course a white door. This just absolutely pops, and I loved this. Here is the door hanger everybody asks about, how I hang my wreaths. That's how I hang my wreaths. I figured once I was all done making that wreath that we just saw, I would give my honest review on wreath kits. For me, do they work? Yes. Would I buy them again? Yes. Would I recommend them? Absolutely yes. Who would use them? I think it's perfect for anyone. If you're a first-time wreath maker, it's perfect. If you've been making wreaths for 25 years, I think it's perfect. It's everything all bundled into one. If you're having an issue trying to figure out what ribbons to put with what deco mesh, what theme to use, these are great ideas for making wreaths. So again, I would buy them again, I would use them again, and I would totally recommend them. This wreath kit unfortunately sold out before I got this video, but the good news is if you just go to www.uniqueinthecreek.com, you can buy all of the items. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to list everything right down below in the description box. I'm going to give you the link to their website. I'm also going to give you an affiliated link, which I'm part of. You can use either one if you wanted to use the affiliate link. Yes, I do get a little bit of a commission off that. That helps me on my channel to keep it going. If you don't wish to use the affiliated link, you do not have to. I will provide you with another link that you can use as well. I hope you enjoyed this little wreath kit wreath. I totally loved making it. I had so much fun, and I can't wait to hang it on my outside door. Here in Canada, it's -22 today, so maybe I'll hang it tomorrow. Thank you so much for joining me today. We have a little bit of a blooper reel coming, so stay tuned for that. I'm sure by now you've all seen while you're shopping online or whatever. Nope. Better material, yada, yada, yada. Yeah, I don't know what I'm going to say next. A Canadian company, a online store. It's Today, I'm going to experiment. I shouldn't say experiment. I'm going to, no. Wreath boards. She was the inventor of the wreath boards. Today, she gave me, oh, Lordy David. Out there, and we've always wondered, hey, is it worth it? Are they good? Etc., etc. Unique, oh, David. You know what? Where's my coffee? Where did I put my coffee? Oh, well, we'll just have some water. www.uniqueinthecreek.com. She lacked I was so close. Thank you so much for joining me today while I made the Unique in the Creek Wreath Kit. Don't forget to subscribe and hit that notification bell so you can be notified whenever I upload a new project. Thank you so much for watching. Take care. Bye for now.